Have you ever felt like, okay, you've got the freedom to work remotely, log in from anywhere, but you still feel kind of micromanaged, like the real autonomy isn't quite there?
Oh, absolutely. That feeling is really common, and it's becoming even more relevant now with AI opening up more flexible work possibilities.
Yeah.
So this deep dive, it's not just about having the remote work tools, it's about how we actually build genuinely autonomous teams, teams that really perform well when they're spread out.
Right. Because lots of organizations, they went remote, got the tech sorted, but it often feels like they just recreated the old office controls just digitally.
Exactly that. There's this huge gap between having, Slack and Zoom and shared drives the tools and fostering true remote autonomy.
Hmm.
Just because we can message each other doesn't mean people feel empowered to make decisions.
Okay, so that's our mission today then, to really dig into how you cultivate that real freedom and ownership in distributed teams. We need to look at culture, trust, measurements, communication, all of it.
Yeah, the whole picture. And transparency, leadership, they're crucial too. Maybe we should start with the problems, like digital surveillance and this idea of managing by visibility.
Good starting point. That old mindset that, people won't work unless you're watching them, it seems to persist even remotely.
It really does.
Yeah.
And it leads to misusing these great remote tools. Instead of enabling collaboration, they become, well, tracking devices. It's like a digital punch clock, but way more invasive sometimes.
And that creates this always-on pressure, doesn't it? Feeling like you have to look busy, keep that little green light on, rather than focusing on, actually getting things done effectively.
Totally. It adds this layer of stress. Constantly wondering if someone's checking your status, if you're replying fast enough.
Hmm.
It's basically the remote version of having a manager hovering over your shoulder.
Hmm.
And what's really interesting, or maybe worrying, is how this shapes behavior. Teams start waiting for instructions instead of taking initiative.
Well, yeah, if the system rewards responsiveness over proactivity, people adapt, right?
Right.
Then leaders wonder why no one's stepping up.
Precisely. And the cost of this lack of autonomy is real. Think about the duplicated work, the rework that happens because of miscommunication or misalignment when people aren't truly owning their piece.
So let's flip that. How do we build trust when everyone's remote? That physical distance, it seems to automatically create a perception of risk, even if it's not really justified.
It does. It's like an unconscious bias kicks in. Managers can feel they're losing control, losing visibility. So the first step is a conscious shift moving away from oversight towards actively building a culture of trust.
And clear goals seem vital there. If everyone knows exactly what you're trying to achieve, maybe there's less perceived need to constantly check up on how they're doing it.
Exactly. Clarity of purpose is huge.
Yeah.
Nail down the what and the why. Then build trust through consistent follow-through and low-friction ways to stay connected. Not heavy meetings, just regular touch points.
And psychological safety too, right? People need to feel it's okay to try things, maybe even stumble a bit, especially early on when they're figuring out this autonomy thing.
Oh, essential. Trust isn't instant. It grows from seeing consistent delivery, open communication over time. You have to resist that urge to overstructure everything for control, because that just disempowers people.
So, practically speaking, how do you build that trust virtually? Forget those big formal status meetings, maybe.
Yeah, often they're not the best way. Think more like regular, quick, informal check-ins. Just brief chats, focusing on connections, seeing if anyone's blocked, rather than rigid reporting. They build rapport.
And sharing context, not just tasks, like the why behind the work, who it impacts.
Absolutely. Context is king. And interestingly, leaders showing a bit of vulnerability helps too. Admitting when they don't have all the answers. Plus, short feedback cycles, delivering value frequently that builds trust like crazy, both within the team and with stakeholders.
Makes sense. You might over-communicate a bit at first, finding the rhythm.
Yeah, that's natural. But you eventually settle into a comfortable level of sharing based on that growing trust. Good feedback loops create predictability, and stakeholders love predictability.
Okay, let's talk metrics because it feels like the wrong measurements could just kill this autonomy we're trying to build, like tracking keystrokes or screen time.
Oh, they're poison for autonomy. They scream, "I don't trust you." Remember, what gets measured gets managed. If you measure activity, you'll get activity, probably not outcomes. And imagine working knowing your eye movements are tracked. Chilling.
Yeah, it shifts the focus entirely from delivering value to just performing busyness. So the shift needs to be towards outcomes.
Definitely. What value did the team deliver? What was the impact for the customer? Not how many hours were logged.
Yeah.
This also lets people work in ways that suit them best across different time zones, different peak energy times.
So scrap the hours, the clicks, the screen time. Focus on team delivery, customer satisfaction. Simple, but powerful. Okay, so how do we get transparency without that creepy surveillance vibe?
That's where tools like Kanban boards are brilliant. They show the flow of work, what's being worked on, what's blocked, what's done in real time without tracking individuals.
Right, so everyone can see progress, spot bottlenecks, maybe offer help.
Exactly. It facilitates support. And you share outcomes through demos, reviews, maybe updates focused on the user story. Visibility should be about enabling help and alignment, not inspection and blame.
Makes sense. Now, communication, especially with teams spread across, say, London, New York, and Sydney, that's a challenge.
It really is. The key thing is deciding what needs to be synchronous real time and what can be asynchronous. That's critical.
So save the real-time stuff for brainstorming, complex problem-solving, the really collaborative moments.
Yeah, and use asynchronous email, shared docs, chat updates for things that don't need immediate back and forth, allowing for deep work.
And avoid a single standard, right? Like not everything has to be a meeting.
Please know, asynchronous is incredibly valuable. Choose the right mode for the situation. And always, always be mindful of time zones and people's energy peaks when scheduling anything synchronous.
And this links to decision-making speed too, doesn't it? If it's not urgent, async might actually be faster overall.
Often it is. Which brings us to documentation. Good documentation is about shared understanding, not red tape.
I find writing helps clarify my own thinking. I can see how that's even more important remotely. And decision logs, knowing why a decision was made months ago, invaluable.
Think of it as teaching. For the current team, for future members, good docs reduce friction, especially for asynchronous work. Less misunderstanding.
And being transparent about how decisions get made, who is involved, the rationale.
Crucial. Default to public channels for decisions unless privacy is genuinely needed. It gives everyone visibility, helps align efforts, avoids that game of telephone you get with closed-door decisions.
Okay, leadership's role in all this, it seems huge. What can leaders do specifically?
Things like role rotation can be great. Builds empathy, spreads knowledge, fosters that distributed accountability. Also, recognizing expertise over hierarchy. The best idea might not come from the most senior person.
Right. So leaders need to actively facilitate, draw out different perspectives, not just default to the loudest voice.
Exactly. Coordination happens through shared goals and trust, not top-down command. Encourage initiative. Encourage collaboration between teams, too. When you have trust, decisions can be made faster, closer to the actual work.
And that balance, you mentioned tight alignment on the goals, but loose coupling on the how, the execution.
Yes.
Especially globally.
Yes. That flexibility on the how is vital. It lets teams adapt to local context, local nuances, figure out the best way to deliver in their specific situation.
So what are the red flags? When is this not working?
Big ones are management, just not letting go, still trying to control everything.
Yeah.
Or, on the flip side, teams seem disengaged, not taking ownership. The goal is alignment without control.
Because that micromanagement, even if well-intentioned, just crushes morale and stops people doing their best work.
Absolutely. And this whole conversation about autonomy, it connects directly to effective agile, especially in products and service management, and even how we approach AI.
How so?
Well, high-performing organizations, particularly those managing complex products and services, they thrive on autonomy. It fuels creativity, engagement, better results. Trying to control everything, it paradoxically suppresses performance.
But it's not anarchy, right? Agile, in the context of product management, provides a framework. Clear outcomes, tools, support, boundaries.
Precisely. That balance is core to agile culture in product and service management. Empowering self-organization, continuous improvement. Good leaders enable success. They don't just enforce compliance.
And the AI parallel.
It's fascinating. AI systems, particularly with reinforcement learning, need room to explore, experiment, even fail, to learn effectively.
It is kind of ironic if we give AI more freedom to learn from mistakes than our own teams sometimes.
Right. And the foundations for good AI implementation, clear outcomes, ethical guidelines, collaboration, they look remarkably similar to what autonomous human teams need.
And that idea of AI as augmentation, not just replacement.
And yes, that builds trust and effectiveness, just like empowering human teams. There are specific agile practices used in product management that really help build these self-managing teams. Things like Clear desired outcomes, limiting work in progress, using information radiators like Kanban boards for transparency, regular retrospectives to learn, and clear decision frameworks.
So those agile practices provide that needed structure for autonomy to flourish in product management. It's that clarity and freedom balance again, and respectful meetings underpinning it all.
Absolutely critical. Whether it's agile product management or AI development, respectful meetings have a purpose, value people's time. Think about who really needs to be there. Start on time. Consider time zones, active listening, assuming good intent, psychological safety, even taking breaks.
It pushes back on that myth of agile just being endless meetings and product management. The focus is collaborative work, creating value.
Exactly. And getting this right often comes down to winning over the movable middle in an organization, those who are open but maybe skeptical, showing them the value, supporting them.
And positioning agile correctly, right? As suited for the dynamic world of product and service management, especially with AI, maybe complementing waterfall where that's more appropriate for, say, traditional project management. Busting myths like agile being chaotic or unplanned.
Yes, clarifying those misunderstandings is key. Transparency, celebrating early wins with that middle group that builds momentum for genuine change towards autonomy.
So wrapping up, it feels like true remote autonomy is so much more than just location independence. It's a deep shift in culture, in trust, and how we structure work, how we measure success.
It really is. And the parallel with AI learning is quite provocative, isn't it?
It is. If we understand that freedom and learning from experimentation are crucial for artificial intelligence, what could our human teams achieve if we consistently offered them that same trust and autonomy?
A powerful question to ponder.
Definitely something to think about. And if you, listening, want to dive deeper into specific strategies for building these autonomous teams or implementing AI effectively, please do check out the source videos. We've put the links in the description for you. Lots of great insights there.